iPad, and all Android phones. Like our Facebook page, NTA2 Lagos Network Center. You can tweet us at NTA2LNC. NTA2 Lagos Network Center, your reach out station.
Thanks for joining us once again. My name is Dr. Kevwe, and you're welcome to Lifeline, reaching you from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority. A lot of events have been happening in Nigeria and indeed the rest of the world that have been quite mind-boggling. Coming back to Nigeria, you want to talk of the issue of Boko Haram. You want to talk of the issue of the dollar that is said to be 402 naira or 405, as a friend told me, in terms of the parallel market. You want to talk about the hardship that is ongoing all around the country for people who do not have money, as people will say. A lot of things have been bothering people mentally. A group of young doctors looked at the whole situation and came together to say, well, enough is enough. We must be able to contribute our own quota. And today on this episode of the show, we will be looking at the very important topic that we have captioned mental awareness in Nigeria. Can being mentally aware help people to cope with the current situations that are ongoing in the current polity as we find ourselves today? Well, joining me is a representative of one of these young doctors that had come together to say is enough and we must contribute our quota. They started an initiative referred to as the Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative. Well, joining me in the studio here is the Secretary General of the Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, Dr. Iyewande Dipeolu. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, I didn't want to start to talk about what the initiative was all about. You and your group of associates had all got us to make pledges, and I remember that I had pledged to be the voice of mentally oppressed Nigerians, and I had pledged to be part of the solution. Now, taking it from the start, what is the Mentally Aware Initiative all about?
Okay, we're, like the name implies, we're a Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative. We're thinking of, okay, we're about educating Nigerians more about mental illnesses. For us, in Nigeria, mental health issues have always been treated custom with a lot of mystery, myth. There's been a lot of traditional connotations and everything. So we felt like people weren't really recognizing mental health issues. And then when anybody says, oh, they have a mental illness, everybody goes, oh, you're mad, oh, you're sick,
you're crazy,
you're just not trying hard enough.
You become an outcast, as
exactly.
it were.
So we came together and we're like, okay, what can we do? The problem we noted was information. People don't read, people don't know anything. So that's why if people get informed about mental illnesses, that's a step. The more awareness, the less stigma it is, because
quite importantly,
stigma has been like a roadblock in getting treatment, because everybody goes like, if I say I have a mental illness, then everybody's going to be like, oh, stay away from this person, he's mad.
Yes.
Or if you do anything at work, they just say, oh no, it's because he's mad, that's why he did this. So that has been a roadblock in getting treatment. So at least when awareness is more, then we can start to talk about treatment and policy and everything. So we're first about the awareness and then
okay, excellent. Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, all about awareness so that people can be more informed, to be able to even recognize the conditions in the first place. Now, let's come back to mental health, as it were. it is important for viewers out there to understand that mental illnesses is not until an individual begins to rent their clothes and get out there on the road.
True.
You understand? Now, it's not every time you even say someone is mentally unhealthy that it means that they are mentally sick.
True.
Here I was talking about, when I introduced, I was talking about the issues that have been ongoing in Nigeria. Take, for example, the Olympic team that came back with only one medal. Olympic enthusiasts, sport enthusiasts will be very sad.
True.
And that's some sort of
mental
stress, as it were. So tell me, how common, from the research that you and your associates did, how common did you find out that how common are mental illnesses in the world as it is today?
In the world as it is, mental illnesses are really, really common. You have like 1 in 4 people has a mental illness. And then
global statistics.
And then it tells you that of everybody that's going to have a mental illness, it starts from the age of 14. Like, 80% of people already have a mental illness. By the age of 24, 75% of those people continue to have further in life. And then it said that everybody at every point or at any point in their life would suffer from a mental illness.
Well, viewers and friends out there, before I come back to you, Iyewande, the number is on your screen. You can call in to ask your questions or contribute to this show. Have you had anybody who's been acting funny around you, who you feel should require medical help? Or do you individually feel that, I've been having nightmares, I'm so sad, now I'm beginning to hear voices, and you need to ask questions, what exactly is going on? Other than the phone lines, you can also send in a tweet at me, at Dr. Kevwe, and I would ensure to reply your questions. You can also reach me on Facebook via the address on your screen. So we are talking about how common. And you were mentioning childhood. Now, the statistics I have right here says 50% of mental illnesses start from children.
True.
Now, people will not believe when a child is acting too quiet or something, they say, okay, it's just a child. What are the symptoms that people should look out for?
Okay. For children, mostly, you see kids that do not play with other children. They like to be withdrawn. They stay away from everybody else. Yes, they could be introverts, but you also have to watch them, because staying away from people too is not a good thing.
Okay.
Some statistics will tell you, okay, to know a child with autism from breastfeeding, by the time a child should be smiling, maybe like at 3 months, 6 months, he's supposed to at least recognize his mother's face, see her smile, and then he's not smiling. So you know that, okay, there's something you might need to do, like...
Okay, we have a phone call. Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
Yeah, she's from Festac.
From Festac.
Yeah.
Okay, please go on with your contribution, sir.
Come again?
What is your question or what is your contribution to the show, sir?
Yeah, my contribution is that I feel almost all our leaders have mental problems. The governors, the House of Assemblymen, all of them. For somebody to see Nigerian well.
The volume, we can't hear you clearly.
Yeah, all of them should be tested and taken to hospital.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for that contribution. It's been noted. So, you see, Nigeria, people are sad. People are troubled. People are sad. Okay, I was listening to a program the other day, and someone was talking about how people who get into political offices should be checked first for mental problems because of some of the decisions that that we are seeing. But this is not a political program, and we are in no position to judge political decisions here. We are more concerned about the mental health of the nation, as it were, which is why you and your other colleagues came together to start this Mentally Aware Nigeria initiative. Now, what does it mean for a Nigerian to be mentally aware?
Okay, it means, first of all, he's aware of his own self, and then he's able to survive the stress of life and then also contribute meaningfully to society. So that's like just the main definition of mental health itself.
Yes.
You should be able to at least understand yourself, know that, oh, yes, I am a person, I'm alive, I exist.
Yes.
And then you should also be able to
be aware in time, space, and location, isn't it?
Yes. And then he should be able to handle stress, because Nigeria is a stressful place. First of all, you have to have good coping mechanisms, and then also be able to contribute, be able to help those around you, and not just being mentally aware, also getting everybody around you aware of mental illnesses, because the more you talk about it, the more people can come out and say, oh, I have this and I can get treated. And then even if you don't need to get treated, you can even start support groups for your friends. Oh, we all have these similar issues, this is what we can do, help each other cope through the stress of life.
So a mentally aware Nigerian should be able to know what to do in certain situations.
Exactly.
Well, that brings me to coping mechanisms, because when you say mentally aware Nigeria initiative, when you told me about it first online, the first thing I thought about was coping mechanisms. Now, a lot of Nigerians will say, yes, the definition of mental health, one of the parts of it is that be able to cope under stress. You should be able to contribute meaningfully to your society. Now, a lot of people will say, when I don't have a dime in my pocket, how can I contribute meaningfully? Well, we have one of the images on the screen trying to depict some mental awareness information. Now, like I was saying, people will say, when I don't have a dime in my pocket, how can I contribute meaningfully to my society?
Money is not everything. That's what we don't understand. Just going to visit a friend that you haven't seen in a long time goes a long way for the person. The person doesn't really care how much you bring or what you come with. They come and they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? What has been going on in your life? The person talks to you, especially if it's someone that you're close to. The person talks to you, gives you like, talks about the stress he's been going through, and then you tell him, oh, okay, this is what you need to do, just relax, everything is going to be fine. That time, just giving your time alone goes a long way. Or even going and saying, oh, okay, going to visit a motherless baby home. They don't really care what you bring. They're just happy to see a friendly face. Yes, it goes a long way when you go with something.
Well, that's true, because people who, some people who have been on the verge of breakdown will be like, who even remembers me in this world?
Exactly.
Nobody remembers me in this world.
Sometimes even as little as a phone call,
I might as well just pack it up. Well, like I was saying, talking about coping mechanisms, personally, we all face individual stresses, and I feel that as an individual, being a mentally aware Nigerian, I need to know a couple of coping mechanisms. I don't have money, I'm so sad. What can I do? 10 commandments of mental health. What are we talking about here, Dr. Iyewande?
It's just like it says 10 commandments. You go appreciate the little things. Think positively, cherish the people that you love, continue learning.
Yes.
Don't kill yourself over your mistakes. Learn
you can't
from
just
them,
kill yourself over your mistakes, isn't
learn
it?
from them, move on, exercise as much as you can, because it will help you take your mind off a lot of things. Don't complicate your life unnecessarily. Anything that is weighing you down, if you can leave it, let it go. Then understand and encourage everyone around you. Be tolerant. Don't give up. Remember that life is just a marathon, not a sprint.
That's true. Let me just run through it. So number one is think positively. It's easier to think positively, isn't it?
It is.
Even when the thing is so bad. Yes, of course, because sometimes it's that little hope. I was talking to a relative who was so depressed. He felt everything has failed. And I was like, what are you working towards in the future? What do you have hope to do? So sometimes it's that little hope that keeps you. And then cherish the ones you love, like you had said. Just go and visit someone and say hi, isn't it? And then continue learning as long as you live here.
Buy a dog.
Buy a cat or buy a dog.
Find
Where is the money?
Love.
Where does the money come from? In Nigeria. You know? So learn from your mistakes. Exercise daily. It enhances your well-being. Do not complicate your life unnecessarily, viewers out there. Try to understand and encourage those around you. So you see some people who they're in a mess themselves, but they're encouraging other people. That way, they're able to uplift their mood and say, well, I've helped people. Tell us about the pledge.
Okay, the pledge campaign We started that as a way to get people more aware and get more people involved.
Okay.
To get volunteers. So it's like 5 major pledges. I pledge to improve my knowledge of mental illness and health.
Okay.
I pledge to be a voice for the mentally ill in my society. I pledge to be an advocate for mental health.
Okay.
Yes, so those are majorly the 3. I think
The 3 major pledges. And I know mine was I had pledged to be the cure, to the solution to mental health in my society.
Yeah.
So you people got a couple of professionals and other individuals to come and pledge.
Yes.
Volunteers basically, isn't it? I know I went online to do that. The website where that people can access that pledge, we'll come to that before the end of the show.
Okay.
Now we're talking about coping mechanisms. How I was giving my own view. If as a mentally aware Nigerian, I should be able to know how to cope.
True.
You understand? It's quite difficult for some people. One of the graphics there said mental illness is not by choice.
It's not by choice.
Isn't it? So
No.
people should not stigmatize. You
True.
understand?
Most people
so
just go like,
some people will say being broke is a mental condition, as it were in this country, because it depresses you and does all sort of things to you. But let's talk about stigmatization when it comes to mental illnesses. What about stigmatization? How bad is it?
It's really bad. In Nigeria, we have some societies that ostracize families. They'll tell you, oh, you can't marry from this family because there's madness there.
Yes.
They don't know, oh,
this
woman
true.
had schizophrenia, or that she was being abused by her husband, she got severely depressed, she started hearing voices. Nobody talks about that. Everybody just goes, oh, everybody in that family is mad. Oh, you are talking to that girl. There's a history of madness there. Don't
go there to marry. Don't near that boy.
You see a whole family, everybody's just staying away from them. People will go to church and say, no, don't sit near this person because, oh, madness, you can contact it. And it's not Lassa fever or Ebola that you can get from contact. It's an illness. It's like cancer, but we treat it so much differently because we don't understand it.
We don't understand.
And then media doesn't help, because every movie you watch, when they want to talk about someone with a mental illness, they'll show you that very crazy person tearing their clothes, walking on the road, talking to themselves. In fact, most of the people that have a mental illness it's not physical. You don't see them walking on the road, and yes, definitely when it gets to a stage without treatment, they could get there, but that is not majorly what it is.
Okay, it's mostly in the mind, isn't it?
It's a thing of the mind.
It's mostly in the mind. Now, where is this initiative going to? What are some of the goals of this initiative, and what do you plan to achieve 5 years down the line?
5 years down the line, we want to have Nigerians aware. First of all, we want to have people talking about their illnesses, people going to seek treatment without thinking of what anybody's going to say. We want to know, if possible, no stigma. The government instituting policies for protection of the people in the hospitals, like human rights of sufferers, because you know the mental health policy was made in like 1991. There's been really no revision. There's no governing body like that supervises any of the mental health institutions.
Okay.
So we want to have a Nigeria where we can have proper supervision, proper treatments, proper support groups, everything working the way it should, like advanced countries. People can have access to mental health support. They could get medication, they could get counseling just from their phones if possible.
As it were. Well, viewers and friends out there, we are still talking about mental awareness in Nigeria. Of course, we are expecting your calls to come in. A gentleman had called from the Festac area of Lagos, and he was supposing that some of the political leaders in Nigeria need checkup. That's not the first time I'm hearing that. But the number is on your screen, and we are expecting you to contribute or ask a meaningful question as it has to do with mental awareness, especially in Nigeria. Well, there are a lot of scenarios that are quite confusing. You understand, that people could mix up. Now, I have seen in movies and even in real life on one situation where an individual is very angry, you know, but somehow his people have ganged up against him. He's upset with another individual, but every other person from the public have come to hold him down, and the person that he's having a quarrel with saying, "Oh, he's mad, he's mad." He knows he's not mad, and they hold him down and bugle him up to the hospital.
Yes.
When he tries to be angry and say, "I'm not mad," they'll give him injection. He'll lie down again.
True.
You know, I saw that one in a movie.
Oh, it
you know,
actually
but
happened during my mental health posting.
So it happened during your mental health posting. So how misdiagnosed is mental health and mental health illnesses? You know, how are people mistaking to be mentally ill? How much is that going on, if I put it right?
I would say a lot.
Yeah.
I don't have facts.
Because as much as you want to be mentally aware, you want to identify people who are mentally ill, you also don't want to tag people who just have a bad temper
as
to be
ill.
You understand? So what have you guys noticed from your research?
First of all, Nigerians, we don't even go to the hospital for anybody to do any research.
Okay.
Normally, when you do mental health status exams, you know, okay, from the questions you ask, you know, okay, is this person rational? Is this person, even from the appearance, you know, okay, is this person well kept?
Yes.
Is he oriented in time, place, and person? Does he have any delusions and everything? Just interacting with a person, you'll be able to tell, oh, what does he have? What doesn't he have? And you'll be able to separate. But nobody even goes to the hospital. We don't even go for regular checkups. Not to talk of mental status exams. So it's hard.
It's hard to even.
Most people just assume like, oh, he shouted for no reason. He was watching a movie and he got excited and he shouted, oh no, he's mad.
This person is crazy. Well, I've had a personal experience. I know that you guys have contacted a lot of us doctors, as well as you're contacting other people to be part of this initiative. But reaching out to doctors out there now, especially younger doctors, you know, peers and all of that, people who are 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years post NYSC. I've had a situation where a patient came in. I was going through the folder. I saw that this patient at the time had been given antipsychotics.
Okay.
But when I discussed with this patient, I got to realize that the patient eventually had restless leg syndrome, which is a psychiatric topic, you understand. But when I mean restless leg syndrome, viewers and friends out there, a lot of people say, people depress me. Every night, people depress me. So there is a topic out there in psychiatry that is called restless leg syndrome. So you feel that you have been... Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, ma. What's your name and where are you calling from? Please, you need to speak out more so we can hear you, madam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Well, we can try.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, what's your question, madam?
What's the question?
We're listening, ma. Go ahead.
Okay, can one conclude or deduce that he or she with medical imbalances, so he or she always misses most of the things that he or she does?
Oh, we didn't get that. Please, could you take that again?
You didn't get me.
No, we didn't.
I said, can one suggest or conclude that he or she is medically or imbalanced? Because he or she always misses.
Always does what?
Misses.
They make mistakes. Okay, you are trying to ask that if someone can conclude if they are, yes, mentally imbalanced because they always make mistakes. What do you have to say? Thank you for the question. Let's hear from my colleague here.
You can't just conclude you have a mental illness. Yes, maybe you're forgetful, but there's an underlying cause. So it's better to go seek proper help. Go to a hospital. Tell them, oh, this is what's been happening. I'm getting forgetful all the time. I make mistakes.
I'm making mistakes.
You could be having like early dementia or even Alzheimer's. So that's something else. So once you have any problem you don't understand, once you just have something going on you don't get, go to the hospital. That is why the hospitals are there.
Yes.
Go there, see a professional.
Okay, hello. Oh, we've lost the other call.
Okay.
Well, talking about mistakes, everyone make mistakes, but I understand her point. There are some bosses that expect you not to make any mistake.
But nobody's perfect.
You understand? Nobody's perfect. Now, madam, I wouldn't say someone who makes mistakes all the time is mentally imbalanced. But bear in mind that there's what we call intelligence quotients. Some people have higher intelligence quotients more than others.
True.
You understand? Now, some children practically get battered because of mistakes. Now, that's why my colleague was talking about children again. You must look at your children closer and find out. Hello? Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Sorry, Victoria calling from VI. Could you speak louder, please? We can't really hear you. Okay, Victoria calling from VI. Thank you for joining us on Lifeline. Can you make your contribution or ask your question?
I have a question to ask.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see related to I don't seem to understand. Is that the kind of mental illness or what?
If someone doesn't seem to understand. Okay, thank you very much for the question. Well, not seeming to understand. You know, there is a mental condition. It's big grammar. But there have been children who, earlier on in their life, were not able to understand in school. You understand?
Yeah.
They were not able to understand things in school. Do you think that that is a significant mental illness to pay attention to?
Yes, they could have a form of mental retardation. That's also based on the IQ you talked about.
Yes.
So, well, in Nigeria, children don't get tested when they're born to know like their strengths and weaknesses, IQ and all. So if you notice that with your child, you could go see a psychiatrist or just
a general
regular,
doctor
a general
first.
practitioner first, and then he will let you know what to do. He will do some tests, check, and then you can go from there.
Oh well, from my own point of view, I've read about a lot of wealthy entrepreneurs who said whilst they were in school they weren't understanding anything. It doesn't mean that that person is a write-off. Some of those people get into business and now excel. Some people will say education is not for everybody, but education is very important. Well, at least we've been able to start the awareness campaign from the NTA studios here, and I hope that we'll be able to get you again and perhaps another of your colleagues or entirely new set of people to come and talk about more of this. Viewers and friends out there, that will be all for this episode of the show. Until we come your way same time next week, ensure to have a very wonderful evening.
Center brings you broadcast service wherever and whenever through our social media platforms, now live on just a click away. Global news, sports, business reports, politics, issues, events and happenings around the world, your favorite past and present TV programs, drama, documentaries, and for your news headlines, log on to www.youtube.com/NTA2Lagos. Watch, download, comment, and subscribe.